Hey, what's up, guys? So I recently just got first place at the Remote Duo Extravaganza with P.U.N.K. Han and I played the exact same list. I got first and he made top 32. So huge shouts to him as well for basically theorying and innovating this deck with me. I'll do also a shout out to Brandon Leonard. He was the one who originally came up with the idea of putting Gizmex in P.U.N.K. And the card has been amazing. Han and I definitely innovated it further, but I think that was a really good base. So I just want to give some credit there as well, where it's due. And of course, shout out to my team, Luxury Gaming. So if you guys have any information, you can check that. If you guys want to learn more about the team, you can check that out in the description box below. And hope you guys enjoy the profile. See you in there. Peace. Alright, guys, so let's get into the profile and I'll show you guys exactly what I played. So I have I played Pure Punks, as I mentioned, and I have right here 3 Xamin. This is like your main starter, so there's not really much about to say it. It's basically like a 1-card combo. So you want to play 3 of this, and then you want to play 3 other cards to search this because this is Pure Punk. So I'm going to be playing 3 Ogre Dancer. This searches you Xamin, but it can also search you Dionote or Shirakuzai. So that also comes up depending on the matchup. You also have 3 Foxy Tune. This card is insane. Basically, it makes it so that if you open Aemon and Foxy, they usually want to hand up your Aemon because they're not really sure what you're playing. And then you can use Foxy to extend into like a Deer Note or something like that. And then I played 2 Deer Notes. The main reason I did that is because having more copies of Deer Note means that you have a second push after turn 1. So it gives you a bit of a grind game. And actually, multiple Deer Notes, like the Deer Notes, actually fine to open because most of the time when you open like Xamin plus Ogre Dancer plus any Punk name, if you get hand chip on Aemon at all, you can use Ogre Dancer search Dionote and then pitch the random Punk name and still combo and like make a synchro 8 line. So that's the reason. And then the last card is Shirakuzai. This card is MVP. It basically makes it so that if you have teleport, you can basically, if you open Aemon teleport, you can like still combo through a hand trip on Aemon. And also it makes it so that if you combo and you have teleport, you can use teleport as an interruption on your opponent's turn. Because you can teleport for Shirakuzai, use Gizmek to summon itself, which is level 8 body. Use Gizmek and the Shirakuzai to make Amazing Punk Dragon and bounce multiple cards on your opponent's turn. So that's kind of like the reason why I decided to play this card. But I only wanted to play it as a 1-of because it's usually an utility target. It's not amazing to open. So that's why it's a 1-of. So that's it for them. Basically for like the engine. Basically just like these 12 Punk monsters. That's gonna be like basically the bare bones and like the reason to play the deck. The engine is just very succinct and very powerful on its own. So I like how simplistic and how powerful it is, and there's like a lot of really cool plays you can do. Now in terms of like the rest of the engine cards, you have the Spice, 3 Gizmecs. Like I said, shout out to Brandon Leonard. He was the one who originally came up with the idea of, I guess, Gizmek in Punks. And yeah, this card is amazing. It won me so many games. It's one of the best cards in simplified game states to have Gizmecs. Just because it can like trade with your opponent's cards. It's a level 8 to make Vampire with, plus any level 3 tuner like a Hand Traps or something along those lines. You can make Psychic and Punisher or Amazing Punk Dragon, which is a really good grind game card, as well as a card that can bounce multiple cards in like simplified game states. So that's why I play that, and then I play 1 Shinobi Necro. This is a card that Paulie found, and I'm really glad that he did. This card is really insane. It's basically a better Plague Spreader, and I can show you guys at the end of the combo typically what I'm trying to accomplish. But Shinobi Necro allows you to do so many cool plays. The way it works is that when it's banished from the graveyard, you can basically summon itself back from the banish pile, which is a free level 2 tuner. It's a card you summon off of Helk, and you use Gizmek to make Barone with this. And then after that, you use Chaos Ruler to banish the Necro, summon the Chaos Ruler, bring back Necro, and then now you have another Synchro 10, or you can do Calamities. So, yeah, a really powerful card. Alright, so that's going to be pretty much like the main engine. Now we're going to go into like the extra consistency cards in terms of like spells. So we have 3 Part of Prosperity, and then 3 Emergency Teleport. This card just grabs you any card in your deck, so there's not really much to say. It's an interruption card, it's an extender, a starter, it literally is any card in your deck, and I want to play because the extra deck is not that important in this strategy, so you can really just decide what card to get off this. It's like really, really powerful. And I can show you guys like my Prosperity banish too when we get to the extra deck, like what are the 6 cards I'd go for when I activate Prosperity. Typically when you play Prosperities in decks that can comfortably banish 6, and I think this deck is one of them. And it also makes it like post side a lot better because you can pot for 6 for a floodgate post side, and that makes like, you know, certain, like be able to grab a certain like devastating card. Game 2s and 3s is like really crazy. Grab you Lightning Storm, which won me a game as well. Just overall like a really powerful card. Teleport is not really much to say about it. It's like an extender, a starter. It's everything you want in a card. And then the last 3 that I played, which I thought was the spice, was I main deck 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I know it's like weird because a lot of people don't really main deck back removal, but I decided to do this mainly because I think that Mystic Mine is gaining a lot of popularity in the format, so it's a Mystic Mine out, and I didn't want to play one Mine out, I want to play multiples, because if you draw an out too late and Mine has resolved to a point where they have accumulated a lot of card advantage, it's really difficult to kill them. But it's also like a lot of people don't expect me to have it out, so having multiple copies of this is like really nice. Because some people, like sometimes you like out the first Mine, but you can't kill, like you can't go for game, so you need a second Cosmic in the deck to like Cosmic the second Mine and then secure game that way. Cosmic's also really good because it makes your life points lower by 1,000, which makes your Punisher bigger. It's a card that triggers Chenying because Chenying banishes cards from the field and the graveyard whenever a card is banished, and Cosmic would enable that. Another play that actually came up against Maris is that I activated Cosmic at the start of the battle phase to out the field spell for Marincess, and then made my Punisher bigger so he couldn't out it, and I won as a result because he had all his monsters in attack mode as a result of being Link monsters. So Cosmic is really good. It's a Mine out. It's also a Floodgate out. A lot of people after the Nationals saw Hansei won, and you know he main deck like Rivalry, and like my deck can struggle against that card. So having like main deck outs, so, like those type of cards, is really good. Going first, this card is basically like Ogre, so it's like not even that bad because it trades with like a Faithful Adventure. It also trades with like, you know, like the Dragon Link card deck as well, like Boot Sector. Trades with like their Faithful cards. Also, one more thing about Cosmic. I know I'm going a lot over this card, but it's something unique, so that's why I wanted to cover a little bit more. Cosmic also hits Scythe, so if your opponent like gets hand trap a couple times, which is basically the premise of this deck, to lower your opponent's ceiling by hand trapping multiple times, similar to like how Striker operates, and win off the card advantage game. This deck does a similar thing, and I kind of consider this deck more mid-range than actual combo, because I'm basically playing like so many tech cards at this point. Like my combo is like very simplified. It's nothing like too crazy. I'm just trying to accumulate card advantage and like overwhelm my opponent with like big monsters, and it's like basically what I consider like a better Grin Maju deck. But Cosmic, if your opponent gets hand trapped a lot of times and they're able to still make Fiber Dagda, if they go Fiber Dagda, you can Cosmic their Scythe. That's set off Dagda, and then they can't Scythe Lock you, and that's also just a good reason to also just play this card. So a lot of versatility in this card against trap decks in the main deck. This card is insane low. So it's just, I'm really happy I played this. I would not win. I would not actually have won the event if I didn't have this in my main deck. So I'm glad I did. And now to the reason why I think this deck did so well. Basically, like the War Crimes. I played basically every hand trap that are basic generic this format that I thought was really good. So I played 3 Ash, 3 Ogre, 3 Veiler, 3 Nibru, the Gamma package, and Impermanence. So I'm at a total of 44 cards. I decided to play 44 hand traps, which accounts to 70% chance to draw 2 hand traps every time you go second. You know, and that's like really high. And then you have like about a 35% chance to draw 3 hand traps, which makes any combo matchup essentially like very favorable for you. So yeah, there's not really much to say about these. I think hand traps are really powerful, and if you notice, the card that I'm missing from my main deck is actually Call by the Grave. I didn't play Call by the Grave at all, and I know a lot of people just put it in their deck because it's such an insane card. But I kind of questioned the validity of Call by the Grave in my deck, mainly because Despia isn't as popular anymore. Also because if I go first and I call by my opponent's hand traps, it turns off my hand traps as well, which is also like kind of problematic, especially because I play so many. So I'm really happy about this. Like would not have been able to make it this far without all these hand traps. I played a lot of combo decks. I played a lot of Sword Soul. I played a lot of like Marincess, and having these cards like were really good. So I'm really happy I played it. And that's pretty much it for the main deck, 44 cards. Now we're gonna get into kind of the extra deck, and I'll also talk about my Prosperity Banish in this point. But I play Healthkey Firebrax. I think it's pretty obvious why you play this card. It summons a Shinobi Necro from the deck, and then you go summon Gizmek afterwards. I played Lambda. This card is insane. I actually won like multiple matches because of Lambda. So when you activate Chaos Ruler, you can actually grab Gamma and then make Fibrax, and then you can go Chaos Ruler, mill Gamma, grab Gamma, make Lambda, and now your opponent can't hand trap you because you can use Gamma on your own turn with Lambda. So this card was like broken. I'm really happy I played this card. I won a lot of games off it. Then I played the P.U.N.K for my fusions. These are the only links I play. I don't think you need more. The dex already summons like big bodies, so you just kill them with big bodies instead of trying to go Unicorn Access. Then you have Rising Carp. Rising Carp is really good. It's basically like your extender. But this is also like one of the banish. This is one of the cards you also consider banishing. So I'll like put it horizontal for now. Same thing with Lambda. Then I played Zeus. This is also another card I consider banished, but the reason I played Zeus is because I played a big XYZ package. So I played Zombie Vampire because it allows you to consistently mill your Gizmek by, an extra 4 cards is like really good. So this card I always keep in. Same thing with Fibrax. In terms of the reason why I played Ding and Zeus, well, I like Ding and Zeus because in simplified game states, when you're hand trapping your opponent a lot, but they also hand trap you quite a bit, you have the ability to go into a Dingirsu with like an Ogre Dancer and an Aemon. And then that's like really powerful because then you can like clear the last back row or clear the last card, then summon Zeus on top. But if you go first, usually like you don't really get to these game states where you have these XYZs. So typically Dingirsu, Zeus, and Coach King Trainer are the cards I banish. Coach King is basically a card that I make against the Dytron matchup or matchups that don't really play a lot of hand traps. So yep, these 3 are automatically banished when I activate Prosperity. I can't activate Coach King when I activate Prosperity, so I can't draw off it. And in like the turn 2, I don't really have 3 level 8s to make Coach King, so it doesn't make sense to play it. Dingirsu and Zeus also comes out because I'm going first. But if I'm going second, these cards like might stay in. Then I play Calamity, basically because it's an alternate win condition that I like to have in the deck. The 2 level Synchro 8s I play are like the Omega and the Chaos Driller. I played Omega because if I Gamma my opponent on my own turn, I want to be able to have this as an option to make Omega, and then use Omega's effect to rip a card out of their hand, and then trigger Lambda to add another Gamma to my hand, which is like really nice. And then Chaos Driller is just like for the combo. This is a card I summon off Helki Fibrax all the time. It's not really much to say about it. It's like really good. Basically, if you get hand trapped a lot, you add on Fibrax Pass with Gizmek Engrave, and then what you can do is you can activate Gizmek to summon, Fiber Attack and form a draw card, and then make Barone, which is like really good. And then the Synchro 10s, these are Chenying and Barone. These cards are really good. They're really powerful because they're like really, really big. With Gizmek banishing a bunch of cards and you potting for 6 sometimes, Chenying gets really massive. And then Barone is just a, it's just a really good like simplified game state card. And then we have the Amazing Punk Dragon, which is 11, and the Psychic End Punisher, which is like your alternate win conditions. Amazing Punk Dragon can reborn a card to help go for game. It can bounce multiple cards to go for game as well. And it's a card you can also make on your opponent's turn, so it's just a really, really, really powerful card in general. Also like a really cool play that can like come up against like the Flunder deck is, so you can go like you summon Gizmek on their turn in defense mode. On your own turn, you try to go Gizmek pop barrier. If they have like impermanence or a way to stop the Gizmek, what you can do is you can normal summon any level 3 hand traps. You can actually synchro into this because it's a wind monster, so you're not actually locked into the wind restriction. Or you can normal summon a level 2 turn to make Barone, so you can still make these cards under barrier, and then like try to clear their barrier statue, which is also like really nice. But in terms of Prosperity Banish, let me talk about that really fast, because I know if you guys are picking this deck up, that'll probably be like important information that you should have. So if I go first, typically I take out the Zeus, the Dingirsu, the Coach King Trainer because I can't draw anymore. If I only have one way to play and I don't have a way to get access to, like if I have Zeamin Prosperity, then I keep this. But if I don't have any other line and I don't see myself going to a Shirakuza line to make this on my own turn, then I banish this as well. And then if I don't open Gamma, then I'm gonna banish Lambda and Omega, basically, because if I don't open the Gamma package, then and I'm not planning to grab it off Chaos Driller, then I don't need these cards because for like obvious reasons. If I'm going second though, it kind of changes a little bit, because going second, the card that I like to take out, the most obvious one, is usually going to be this card. I also take out the Coach King Trainer going second. Doesn't really make sense to have it. I take out Omega because usually if I'm going second, then I don't really see myself getting a turn 4. I'm gonna try to crack their board. I take this one out as well going second because this card is inherently a lot worse. Going second, it's like never resolves. I also take out Lambda. The only matchups I don't take out Lambda in is like maybe like the Striker matchup or some other matchups where I need to make Lambda so that I can Gamma their Ray from coming back. And then the last card I usually pick Dingirsu because usually my game plan is like I don't really want to make Ding as much going second. I want to make Zombie Vampire if I'm pushing through the board because Zombie Vampire usually gets stopped, and if it doesn't get stopped, it like gets me so much advantage. And then if they stop the Vampire, then I get to make Zeus anyway. So like it kind of does what Ding does, but sometimes you need to keep Ding in certain matchups like Dragon Link because so it's really matchup dependent. But these are like the generic ones. There's also like 11s you might take out, but I usually like keeping them because when you get like Scythe locked, you can make making amazing dragon on your opponent's turn is like typically like the game plan. So I would say like those are like prosperity banish. And now for the side deck. So I play basically a bunch of like fun cards. Anti-spell, dimensional barrier. I just wanted to like cover like everything. The different changes is there can only be one. Shout out to Will for letting me borrow this. I played There Can Only Be One. It was an amazing call. It hit Marin Says, it hit Flunder, it hit Sword Soul, and I played a bunch of those decks. I actually, in top 32 and top 16, I played against 2 Marin Says back-to-back, and this card was just insane. So I'm really glad I had this card in my side deck. I decided this card going second into all those matchups as well, because when you hand trap them a lot and then simplify the game state and you flip There Can Only Be One, you just win. And they're not going to be siding back removal going first. So this card always sticks, which means you just win the game right off the bat. And then like D-Bear and Anti-Spell is basically for every deck that plays like good spell cards and have abundance of spells. And then D-Bear is mainly for like the Despia matchup and the Sword Soul matchup. And then I sided also 3-Draw and Lockbird basically because I wanted more cards to answer two decks that I thought were really oppressive. The Dragon Link deck, when it goes undrolled, like can do so much. Same thing with Drytron. So I wanted to have these cards basically like cover that matchup. And I'm glad I did. I played against Dragons and I played against Dragons twice, so. And then after that, I have Lightning Storm. This is just, it's just like back removal. I wanted to like cover like the heavy trap decks. I wanted to also have a card that's not only a back removal for Floodgates, but it's also a out to like monsters as well against like Sword Souls or like something like that. So yeah, I decided to just play 3 Storm. I'm really glad I did. I don't really have any regrets about this. And yeah, that's pretty much the deck, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed the P.U.N.K deck profile and what I played. I'll probably be releasing a version of this for Poet as well. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.